Hey you. Yeah, you. You didn't stumble here by chance. So let's talk. My name is Tyanne, but a lot of people call me Taj. And I'm most known for my loud New York personality. Brooklyn, to be specific. And my unfiltered opinions. And most recently, for being your favorite homegirl. Yeah, because I'm a realtor too. Don't forget that. And the Melanated Mindset is a safe space for unpopular opinions and heated debates amongst the diverse melting pot of those of us that identify as a melanated millennial. Now, I can't speak for y'all, but after seeing what being an adult is really about, nah, I got some things to say. And I know y'all do too. So let's talk about it, because what's really going on?
What is up, y'all? Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not to the Melanated Mindset. Happy Black History Month, y'all. Okay? I can't be the only one that Black History Month it just gives me a little more oomph, okay? Like I am proud as hell to be black every day. But in February, don't play with her, okay? Happy Black History Month, y'all. And y'all know, before I get into the episode, I do just want to thank you, you, for listening and deciding to share space with me today. You could be anywhere doing anything, but you chose to be here with me today, and I am so grateful to have you. Now, I feel like this episode needs to come with a disclaimer, that being fair warning, y'all. This episode is going to be exactly what the title says, me making some space. And I mean mentally. So it's giving one of my brain dump episodes. Like I need to close some tabs in the computer. And what's crazy is that I feel like I do one of these every single season, and somehow I still don't factor it into the schedule. I'm gonna start though next season for real because this episode had a totally different topic. But when I sat to script it, I just kept drawing blank. I just wasn't connected to the topic. And honestly, it was kind of gonna be a piggyback off of last week's episode, so more parent child relationship stuff. And honestly, I'm over it. I feel like the episodes that I did do already were very healing for me. I hope they were healing for y'all, and we just gonna leave that at that. And like anytime I'm sitting to script an episode and I just draw blank, when that happens, I know the vibes. It's time to stop planning and just start talking. Y'all, don't ask me why it's Sunday again, child. So, see y'all tomorrow. But no, y'all know I want to start every episode with a question. So I do want to ask you, when was the last time you cleared some mental space? Now, y'all know your girl is never going to miss the opportunity for a shameless plug. So if you are an OG part of the tribe, or if you would like to be, because I would love to have you, make sure you do me a favor. Follow me on all socials to keep up with me, quote unquote, in real time at Tyanne Watson on all platforms. And of course, make sure you visit my website, TyanneWatson.com, to see what I've been working on. And if you're new here and you ever don't know how to spell my name, if you go to the description of this episode or of any episode, all of my socials are always there as well as the website. Moving right along. Now, this is where our complaint and highlight of the week would be. And I don't got nothing, y'all. I don't have a complaint nor a highlight. I mean, a highlight is always that, I opened my eyes this morning, but I don't really have a complaint or highlight of the week. I feel like the mental space that I need to clear today will kind of tap into that. So I'm not trying to waste my time or your time with a complaint or highlight. I just don't got it in me today, y'all. What I also don't have today is a Fendi fact. Like When I say y'all, I didn't have nothing. I sat down 2 days ago trying to plan this, and I was just like, you know. So today's episode is giving very much off the dome. But before I jump into the flow, if you enjoy the podcast, if it has helped you in any way, if you've learned anything about yourself, about life in general, do me a favor and please rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to it on. It really helps me out a lot. And y'all know in this tech era, it's all about the algorithm. So the more rates and reviews that I get, the more that the algorithm will recommend the pod. And it doesn't cost you anything but a couple moments of your time, because we learned this season, time really is money. And on top of that, your review just might end up on my website. So let's just get flowing, y'all, because that's really all I got today. But I'm showing up as always for y'all and for myself. So let me ask you again. When was the last time you cleared some mental space? For me, I think the last time I had one of these, mental health dumps, but like in real life, may have been 2 weeks ago when I was at my last therapy session. And it was pretty intense, but not in a bad way at all. It was in a really good way. I actually broke down crying in the car after my session, because it was the first session I've had since I started therapy a year ago where I had nothing bad to say, like about myself, about anyone else, about my life, like nothing negative at all, just pure positivity. To the point where like my therapist was smiling and she just looked so fulfilled. She was proud of herself for helping me get to that point, and she was proud of me for getting to that point. And she ended up asking, like, so what do you want to get out of this session? And I ended up telling her exactly what I just told y'all. Like, I just wanted to clear some mental space, honestly. Like, I just wanted to go tell somebody all of the great things I have going on. And I literally spent the whole 50 minutes, like, literally talking about that. And it made me realize, like, holy shit, I am actually healing. Like, I'm not working towards healing. I'm in the thick of it. I'm actually becoming the woman that I have been trying so hard to be for the last few years. And I am so fucking proud of myself for that, because it has not been easy. If you guys can't tell, the theme of this season, because I feel like every season always subconsciously has a theme, because I feel like every season is literally a new season in my actual life. And I think the theme for this season of the pod and of my life was just self awareness. Like, I have learned so much about myself this past year, almost to the point where I think I'm not going to say outgrowing therapy, because I don't necessarily feel like you can outgrow it, but I feel like therapy, in my opinion, and shout out to Irene if you are listening to this, because watching one of your TikToks or your YouTube videos, one of those, really put it in perspective for me, like why I was starting to put so much time between my therapy sessions, to the point where my therapist would have to hit me up and be like, hey girl, how you doing? After 6 weeks, if you don't show up, I gotta close your case. And I was really getting to the six, it's like 6 or 8 weeks. I was getting to that mark every single time. And I think I was starting to put so much space between my sessions, because I was realizing, not that I don't need it. I'm not gonna say that I don't need it. It's just I feel like therapy is like a stepping stone. Like, I don't want therapy to be a crutch for me. I think for me and my personal journey, therapy was supposed to be the first domino to fall. I feel like therapy is where I was supposed to gain the knowledge and the tools about myself, about my current or old perspective of life. And like therapy was supposed to be like the optometrist. Like, I got new glasses. You know, like, you got to come a couple times. They got to check your eyes. They got to give you a little test, blow that damn wind in your eye. And then you got to come a couple weeks or a month later to pick up your prescription. And then, you test out that prescription. If it don't work, you come back in a couple weeks. They rearrange it until you eventually get what you need to see. And I feel like that's how I'm looking at therapy now. I used to think therapy was a lifelong thing, but listening to Irene really put it in perspective. Like, I honestly don't feel like you're supposed to be in therapy like extended periods of time, because I think at a certain point it becomes a crutch. Like, oh, I am, like, don't get me wrong, I think it's great for, like, oh, I'm having a bad day, like, I really need to blow off some steam, like a new problem has arise, I think it's arose, has arose, and I just don't really know how to handle it. Something, traumatic happens in your life, and you're like, yes, I need to call my therapist to help me deal with this and sift through this. Absolutely. But a therapist every week, every other week for more than 2 years, maybe. I don't know. I can't put a time on it. I feel like you'll know when you've had enough. And I'm not saying enough, like I'm just done with it, because I still haven't, like, stopped my treatment. But I have all the tools that I think I was supposed to get in order to do the hard work myself. I feel like at some point it becomes a matter of accountability. Like, how much are you contributing to your healing? How much are you getting you where you want to be now that you have these tools, now that you have these resources? And I feel like I've been saying it the last couple episodes, but I am now becoming like almost painfully self-aware, to the point where I'm having these realizations about myself on a random Tuesday sitting at my computer. Like, it's not happening on the couch anymore. So I'm getting to the point where it's like, okay, like, therapy did for me what it was supposed to do for me. It was supposed to open my eyes. It was supposed to open my eyes to just a new way of thinking, a new way of living, draw attention to the ways that I have been contributing to my own suffering, allow me to see when I don't give myself grace, when I don't give others grace. All of these things that now I have to consciously do on an everyday basis. I can't only do those things when I'm sitting on the couch for 50 minutes, And I think I'm at the point where I am actively trying to do it all in my real life. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a weird place to be in. But like I said, I have learned so much about myself in the past year, and I would not have been able to do or learn any of that without therapy. 100%. And I feel like I am literally becoming a girl that is screaming, please, please, please do yourself, do your kids, do your lineage a favor and go to therapy. I know it's scary, I know it's intimidating, but it is the best decision I have made for myself, my mental health, my spiritual journey. It just did what it was supposed to do for me. And I know everybody's journey is going to be different, but for me, it did what it was supposed to do. Because it's genuinely insane how much I've learned about myself internally this last year. One of those things being that I can do anything I set intentions on. Like, literally anything. From seeing somebody post a flyer on their story about a Chris Brown concert in Jamaica, literally 4 weeks before the concert, and being like, you know what? I'm finna go to that. That happens during my birthday. That's what I want to do for my birthday. And making it happen in like 3 weeks. Like, anything that I put good, pure intentions and hard work into, I can make happen. Another perfect example is YouTube. The same video that I told y'all was at almost 10K views last week is currently at 46K. Like, in 7 days, because I did record last week's episode on Sunday. So in 7 days, we have gone from 10K to 46K, like in real life. Mind you, the video was posted 2 weeks ago. So it's just now, like it was already gaining some traction, but it has like just been an upward climb since then. Subscribers have, when before I posted that video, I had 487 subscribers. As I'm talking to y'all right now, I have 1,365 subscribers, I believe, all from that one video. Like it has catapulted me into YouTube's algorithm, and I told myself I would be monetized on YouTube before, originally I said before my birthday, but now I'm putting my foot on my own neck and saying that I'm going to be monetized before Malik's birthday. Mark my words. I had no idea or intention how I would do that besides just constantly showing up. And then, boom, the first video I post of the year takes off and gets me more than halfway to being monetized. Like, I started this year with 400 subscribers. You need a minimum of 1,000 subscribers to get monetized, and you need 4,000 watch hours, like, of how much people watch your content before you could get monetized and start getting paid from Google, like, because Google owns YouTube. 3 weeks ago, when I was creating that video, I had no idea how I was going to hit this goal of being monetized before my birthday. Just for one video to catapult me past the subscriber requirement, and I am at like 2,000 and something watch hours. I am literally halfway there. Mind you, another video goes live today. So, shameless plug. If you are not subscribed to me on YouTube, come on, do your girl a favor. I am providing the same type of value that I provide here, but just in visual form. I replaced the video version of the podcast for now with these short film, cinematic kind of, they're essentially podcast episodes, but just crammed into, I try to keep them under 15 minutes. So, you know, just go check that out. I think today's video that's going up is going to be a good one as well. It's a video about how your friends are not your therapist. Would you look at that? Like, being monetized on YouTube for me is going to be such a big deal because, fun fact, I used to be monetized on YouTube back in like 2015, 2016 when I lived in Hawaii. That's actually when I started my YouTube channel. That was before you needed a certain number of subscribers and watch hours and all of that. I don't even know. I don't even think there were requirements. I just think at the time I had a couple videos do great back then, like get a couple thousands of views. But I remember signing up for the Google AdSense program and literally being monetized. I wasn't like making money yet because you have to hit a certain threshold with Google/YouTube. I think it's like $100. So you have to generate a revenue of $100 before they actually pay you. And at the time, I had generated a couple of dollars essentially, and I started to get a little bit discouraged. And then we moved to Italy, and I stopped posting, and I regret it so much every single day. That's probably one of my biggest regrets in life, was not vlogging or creating content while we were in Europe, because not only would it have made great content, but I would have had those videos to go back and look on. Like, yeah, I did a lot of like Instagram story stuff. Like, yeah, I have my highlights on Instagram, but I wish I would have had vlogs. We went on so many amazing trips in those 3 years. I think I went to 10 different countries. Like, a hot air balloon in Morocco, or jet skiing in Croatia, or camel riding in Morocco, or walking the streets of Barcelona on some cheetah girl shit. Like, it is my biggest regret in life, but it's okay because I tell myself that is just my way of making sure that I bust my ass to get back and to not necessarily recreate those same memories, but when I go back for my European summer, like world tour, oh, the content is okay. You're gonna be ready this time. And the fact that I stopped posting and I stopped being consistent, it caused me to get kicked out of the Google Ad Set program. So you have to, once you're in it, it's a 360 deal, baby. Like, you got to keep pushing out that content. If for any reason you stop making content for an extended period of time and therefore you're not gaining traction to your channel, Google gonna be like, sayonara. And that's what happened. And now here I am today, almost 10 years later, and I'm fighting to get back into the program. But what I realized is what it taught me is that this is what happens when you give up. This is what happens when you stop believing in yourself, when you let fear and doubt creep in. Because I saw those little couple pennies in that Google AdSense, and I was just distraught, like, that's it. And back then I was making YouTube videos about like random stuff. My channel had no direction. My very first YouTube video ever popped off. It was like the pros and cons of being a military wife. And I remember at the time I was in college in Hawaii. I was at the University of Hawaii, and I was in between classes, and I literally filmed that video in the classroom in between classes, propped my phone, I think at the time my iPhone 7, propped it up literally on the window sill and recorded that video. And what's crazy is I didn't delete any of those videos. I just put them on private. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think I want to like unprivate those videos just so when people find me, they could know like I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I've been trying to do this. Yeah, there's like a 3-year break, but like it's I mean, I can't even imagine. Those videos are so cringy. Oh my god. Oh my god, they're probably so cringy, but like they're just a part of my story and a part of my journey. And I just think this time around, my journey to get monetized is my redemption story. And that's why I'm going so hard and why I refuse to give up on myself again. Because I know what happens. I know what happens when I give up on myself, and I'm not trying to do that. And if there was ever a year where I was going to be all in, it is this one, 2024. I am literally gas, no breaks. I started the year real slow on cruise control for January, and I am pacing myself for a marathon. Okay, like this is the year. This is really the only year that I got. This is the one that can change our lives for real. If we, and by we, I mean Malik and I, if we stick to our plan, if we don't start second guessing it, because we have a really good plan, and if we just close our eyes and jump like we've been doing for the past 10 years. Only difference is this time, this is the biggest jump we've ever made, and we have no idea what's at the bottom to catch us. Like, I can't go into too much of it right now, but just know, y'all, by the end of the year, y'all will understand why I'm going so hard this year and why success is the only option. Failure is not an option. It's not. And I gave myself a timeline when we first got here, and this is it. We in the home stretch. We in February now, and I don't even count the month we in. These next 10 months have to yield such results for me, for us, and just looking at how I want our lives to look by this time next year, it really made me start to look at what areas and people just cannot go into this new season with me or with us, because we are headed, we always been on a different path, but I'm like we taking a back way. Like, we're not on the freeway. We are not going where everybody else is going. We are going our own way, and it's just us and our baby. And I think in that same theme of like figuring out what areas can or can't go with me into this new season, it really brought me to reevaluate how real estate fits into my life plan. I'm sorry if this episode is like all over the place. Listen, yeah, I told y'all, mental brain dump. I'm just getting a lot off, closing some tabs. And I think I've when it comes to real estate. I think I have been struggling with this for a while because it's something that I am passionate about. Like, home ownership for minorities is so important for me, especially becoming a homeowner and especially becoming the youngest homeowners in both of our families. It's like, I get, I don't get me wrong, all vanity and fame reasons aside, being able to own something, it feels like we have made our ancestors proud. Like, that is a privilege that generations before us did not have. And at one point in time, we're not even allowed to have. In the spirit of Black History Month, like, come on, like, at the end of the day, this very land that our house is built on, yeah, I know we live in the South, our people literally could have had their backs broken on this same land not that very many years ago, despite what the media be trying to make us think that it was so long ago. So to come back and to buy even just this little, and by little, I mean our lots are teeny tiny. But the point is, we own it. And in the state of South Carolina, you get the deed to your home when you buy it. A lot of other states, when you purchase a home, the bank has the deed to your home and you don't get the deed to your home until you pay off that loan. But in South Carolina and some other states, no, the bank don't have that deed. Like, after you close on your home, within 60 days, they gonna send that shit in the mail, like all folded up like a regular piece of mail. Like, we have the deed to this land that is ours. Like, that is our ancestors. We are our ancestors' wildest fucking dreams. And I am so passionate about that because the feeling that comes with it, and anybody who is listening to this who is a homeowner, I know. I know this shit stress y'all out. I know sometimes, a lot of the times, this shit is overhyped. And you just like, bro, I should have just stayed where I was. But you know what I'm talking about. You feel proud. You feel like you making your ancestors proud. And it's the chip it puts on your shoulder is one that we deserve to have. It feel like literally buying just a little bit of your freedom back. Literally. But I got into real estate with the intentions to help my community. The same people I'm telling you whose backs was broken on this land. People that have put so much blood, sweat, and tears into this land. Literally. I got into this to help those people, descendants of those people, get their get get their little piece of the pie back. People that look like me, people that come from where I come from, people that weren't born with a spoon in their mouth, people that have busted their ass to break generational curses. That's who I got into this business to help. And although my career has been the most lucrative it's been since I started 2 years ago, within this last 6 months, like, I have closed the most deals in the last 6 months than I ever thought I would. None of that has been helping my community. Y'all know I said it, I think sometime last season. Or no, I think I started this season by letting y'all know that, like, I took a position as an assistant for another agent, a very well established agent. So I have been working under and with that agent. Like, I'm still my own licensed agent, but I have just been working with that agent to better his business and, maximize his business. And although business is booming, for him, a lot of our clients, like, I'll say this, a lot of our clients, this is not their first home purchase. For example, the clients that I just showed a home last week and got them under contract, by the way, this is their eighth home. And I'm a just put a pin in that right there. When I think about why I got into this business, I think back to my client that I met in the grocery store at this, I think it's been like a year, a little over a year ago. I'm pretty sure I told y'all about her, but if y'all don't know, it was one day my dad was in town visiting us for the week, and I just needed, I went to do something. Oh, y'all know that we only have one car. So while my dad was here, Malik had to go to work. So I got up early to drop Malik off to work so I could have the car so me, Xavier, and my dad could like do stuff if we wanted to. So I got up early, like Malik had to be at work at like 6 o'clock this day. Dropped him off on base, and I was like, you know what? I think if I'm not mistaken, this was like 2 days before Malik's birthday too. So I was like, you know what? I want to go grab this stuff because I'm making a really big dinner for us for Malik's birthday because we couldn't do anything. He still had to work that week. So I was trying to go to Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's wasn't open yet, so I went to Whole Foods because Whole Foods was open. And I went to Whole Foods looking crazy. Like, y'all, I think I ain't finna hold y'all. I think I had a bonnet on. Like, I had no intentions of getting out the car. And then when I realized I was out, and at this point we had never had a babysitter or anything, so just my dad being able to stay home with Xavier instead of me having to wake him up to come with me to take Malik to work, I was like, let me stop at the grocery store. You know, just trying to, if you're a mom, you know, like just trying to milk every little minute that I could get. And I ended up at Whole Foods, and I took my time at Whole Foods. Then I got to the register, and the girl that was, or the woman, excuse me, the woman that was checking me out, or that was checking people out, she was the cashier at Whole Foods. She was talking to the customer in front of me about something that had to do with buying a car and how buying a car at that time was like insane. That's y'all remember. I mean, I haven't bought a car in a while, but like the price of used cars was ridiculous. Like that, I think I'm pretty sure that was like about 2022. Yeah, like April of 2022. So like this is like still on the tail ends of COVID. Like shit was just crazy. Prices was just crazy. I mean, and they've been crazy ever since. But I remember like thinking to myself, like, you know, if you want to be successful in real estate, you can't be afraid to shameless plug. So I used that opportunity when that customer was going and she was checking me out. I was like, you know, not to jump in y'all conversation, but I did hear y'all talking about the prices of car. And yeah, they crazy as hell. At the time we had just got our car. And I'm like, yeah, these used car prices is looking like home prices. And she was like, you know, pretty much like, girl, don't get me started. Like, I've been looking, trying to buy a house for a while. And yeah, the prices is crazy. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm a realtor. And I was like, you know, here's my business card. And if you ever need help, and I think she told me on the back end that what really made her give me a call was that I wasn't trying to sell her. I was trying to educate her. I was walking her through the home buying process. I told her she could always set up an appointment with me. She didn't even have to buy. You just want somebody to break down the process for you. At the time, I hadn't revamped my YouTube channel yet, but I was like, yeah, just give me a call and I'll walk you through whatever you need to know. Fast forward like 2 weeks later, y'all, I get an email that somebody set an appointment with me, and I had no idea where this client came from. Because at the time, I didn't remember her, I didn't remember meeting her. And then when we hopped on that Zoom call, I was like, oh, hey girl. And she was like, hey, like you really like stuck out to me. And it's not the first time I've ever been approached by a realtor. I actually have realtors in my family, but you just wasn't trying to sell me. You was trying to teach me. And this would be my first home. And I don't know anything about buying a home. I just had a baby a few months ago. And I could really use somebody that just looks like me and could really just break it down for me in ways that I could explain. Fast forward 6 months later, we ended up closing. And that was a life changing transaction for me and for them because I made first time homeowners. I made black, young, millennial first time homeowners. That moment in that grocery store changed her life forever. She got her little piece of the pie and I helped her get there. But I've expressed this to her before, but I don't think she understands how much that changed my life. It felt like, yes, this is what I got in here to do. Like, it just, y'all, I cried about that transaction, especially because if you follow me on Instagram, I have a reel up about how that almost didn't happen. I'm talking like 45 minutes before closing, that deal was falling apart. And I was doing everything I could to make that deal happen. I've never worked so hard on a transaction in my life. And just to know at the end of the day, I made her and her family. She has a home, a house to raise her baby in. And she's told me that she's the youngest homeowner in her family, just like I was. It just felt so fulfilling, and it just felt like this is what I got in this to do. But fast forward to current time, and I'm watching interest rates increase. I'm watching rent increase. And essentially, I am watching my target clients get priced out of buying a home because the people like that I'm trying to help, how can I sit on my platforms and tell people that they need to be saving money to buy a house when realistically most people are barely making ends meet as it is? With inflation, people can barely afford their old life, yet alone a whole new one. And it is no secret that owning a home is a huge financial responsibility. That is coming from a first time homeowner. Anybody that owns a home, if you lie and tell people that that shit is not a money pit, you're lying. It's an investment. It's not like you just throwing the money in the trash. It is an investment. And I stand on that. It is. It is. But you need to bring forth a certain amount of capital. You need to have a liquid cash or I can't even say a fire ass credit score because you can't pay these. I mean, I guess you can pay these contractors with credit cards, but then you just racking up bad debt and you don't want to do that. But that's a conversation for another day. But like, you're going to have to kick out thousands of dollars on an annual basis to maintain this home. So if my people that I got into this business to help are getting priced out of even being able to save the money to buy the house, how the fuck are they supposed to be able to afford the maintenance of that house for 30 years? Like, how can I be in a sales business like this? Because at the end of the day, I'm realizing that's what it comes down to. Being a real estate agent, you're a salesperson. How can I be a salesperson and not be reading the room? And I guess the struggle that I'm having is more morally and spiritually because I could easily just be like every other agent, saying whatever I gotta say to close the deal, getting you pre-approved for whatever bank is gonna charge you a less amount of money up front. But then realistically, like I have seen it with my own two eyes. Some realtors tell clients whatever they gotta say to get them to buy a house. And then what happens? 6 months down the line, God forbid you lose your job. You can't afford that house. Or you got a house that you realistically couldn't afford because the price of everything else is going up. And your agent didn't tell you like, hey, we should be shopping below whatever you're pre-approved from. 20 grand below what you're pre-approved from. So you got a little bit of a cushion. Like because your taxes is gonna go up. Your insurance might go up. Like if you didn't have a real ass agent telling you all that shit, you setting yourself up for failure. You setting yourself up to be house rich and capital poor. Meaning, yeah, you gonna have this house, but you ain't gonna have shit in it to show for it. So you got this nice house that you could barely afford. Which means you can't afford the maintenance, you can't afford to furnish it the way you want, and essentially all you did was put your name on a big ass loan to say you got a house. But you are in no way, shape, or form prepared to turn it into a home. Like there are agents that don't care about what happens to you after that deal closes, as long as you refer them a new client. Because at the end of the day, they got their own bills to pay, and we are on a commission based business. So if you're not closing, you're not making no bread. So of course they out here saying whatever they gotta say. They sharks, just like car salesmen. You ever walked in a car dealership and five people, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm learning that's the real estate game. The agents is really out here saying whatever they gotta say, not taking into account these people's real lives and futures. But I'm not that girl. That's not what I got into this for. I'd rather get a job. Let me not say get a job. I'd rather DoorDash, Uber Eat, whatever I have to do to pay for my real estate bills in between deals before I just be out here telling y'all whatever y'all need to hear to get y'all to buy a house to put money in my pocket. That was never my intention. And I'm standing on business about that. So now it's like, what am I doing this for? Because I never want to get to the point where I'm doing something just for the money. And especially doing something as big of a deal as real estate. Like, a home purchase is the biggest purchase most people ever make in their lives. That's a big responsibility on the agent's shoulders. And I'll be damned if I'm talking you into the biggest purchase you've ever and probably will ever make in your life so I could get a check. Like, you took out a loan for $200,000 just so I could get $2,000. Like, I'm not that girl. And I feel like that's what I'm slowly approaching, and that means for me it's time for a change. Like, I'm always in this to help people, but I'm in this to help my people. My people, the people like my client in the grocery store, are getting priced out of this opportunity. And I think this is a whole nother little side tangent, but like, if you pay attention to the way that the world is going and really pay attention, I'm talking about numbers wise. Being in real estate forced me to look at the numbers of everything. I know y'all see the TikToks, but like, for real, out here in these streets, y'all, there is no middle class no more. The world is turning into the haves and the have-nots. And if you don't have it right now, trying to have it in the future is becoming harder and harder and harder. If you didn't buy a home when prices, interest rates, everything was dirt cheap, 2020, 2021, and when they was throwing money at us, you are going to have to really, really break your back to make up for that. And that's not at nobody's fault. It's not at nobody's fault. A lot of people use that time, that bread, to catch up on old financial obligation, all that good stuff. But I'm calling a spade a spade. Out here in these streets, it's getting dangerous, y'all. I'm seeing less and less homeowners in these streets that look like me. In the last 6 months, I have helped one family that looks like me. Do with that information what you will. On the same note, but a different note, I'm also quickly realizing that working with / under someone is not what I set my intentions to do. It was something that came up kind of like out of the blue, and I thought, well, I'm not gonna say I thought, I think that it was meant to help me come to this realization. But my intentions in the beginning was to really, get under somebody with some real experience and learn this game inside and out. And I have accomplished that. I really thought that, like, this decision would help my career grow, help me grow, but it's starting to slowly feel like it's been stifling more than anything else, which is why you guys don't really see me post much real estate content anymore, because I can't get up on these platforms posting real estate content if I'm still trying to figure out where real estate fits into my life. Like, I can't fake the funk for Brad. I just cannot do it. And I think working under someone with such a established business really let me see a different side of the business, both good and bad. But it really just, it shined a light on what it takes to really be successful in this business. And I am now at the point where I'm questioning, am I willing to do and say those things to get to that point? And I'm not sure, y'all. I'm not. And I say it's stifling because I had to turn down a really great opportunity. I got offered the opportunity to be on House Hunters, y'all. Like, me. They reached out to me. Not the agent that I was working with. They reached out to me. They reached out to me to be on an episode of House Hunters. And I was ecstatic. But because I am not a completely solo agent. I'm part of a team, essentially. I had to run it with the the team lead. And team lead decided that he just wasn't interested in the opportunity. But I will say he did give me the option like, hey, if you find your own clients, then if you get your own clients that are willing, to obviously be on the show, more than welcome. You do got to get it run by the company though. And I was like, okay, no problem. And then y'all know me. I wanted the clients that I brought with me on the show to look like me. I wanted the same type of story I just told y'all about the girl I met in the grocery store. Like, I wanted to change somebody's life while also giving them opportunity to get exposure, because a lot of my people got side hustles. I want to see an episode where there is a couple or a family that is busting their butt. They had to work 2-3 jobs to save up this down payment to look at these homes. Like, I wanted that to be my episode. I wanted to be the agent that helped them get there. But what did I just tell you? Those type of clients are getting priced out. So because I could never find the right client on my own, the opportunity came and it went. And it really showed me like, okay, I don't have the the freedom to do what I want with my career anymore. And I don't I don't like the way that feels. Turning that down really, really, I'm not gonna say it hurt, but it was just like, wow. If I was doing my own thing, I would have been able to take this no problem. But at the same time, I still would have had trouble finding the clients that I was looking for to share that opportunity with. And at that point, it just, I don't know, y'all. I'm in a weird space with real estate. I still wholeheartedly believe if you are in a financial position to buy a piece of property, do it. Do it now, because we don't know what the future holds. If you can financially afford to buy and maintain a home, do it. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. But realistically, with the state of this economy and this recession that they don't want to tell us that we are in, that is becoming further and further away from the everyday person's reality. In realizing and like really evaluating my career these past couple weeks, it really made me realize that my focus is always going to be my personal brand before anything, because I feel like that is truly where I'm providing the most value to my community, and it's when I'm the happiest, honestly, and it just feels right. Which brings me to, I finally went back and re-listened to that episode. And if you don't know what episode I'm referring to, I'm referring to season 4, episode 9, titled Let That Shit Go. And I have not listened to that episode since I posted it, because it was just a lot to process. If you are new here, in the middle of that episode, I got my first quote unquote, I call it a spiritual download, like live on air on mic. Like, it was insane. And if you haven't listened to that episode, you just go listen to it to really understand what I'm about to say. Because re-listening to that episode really made me do some research on like spiritual downloads, and I finally found something that makes sense, because I just needed to. Real Virgo shit. But I discovered and came across different types of spiritual gifts, and one of them is called claircognizance. Most people have only ever heard of clairvoyance, which is the gift of sight. So, like, you see things, think that's a raven. But claircognizance is the gift of knowing. And if you've been a part of the tribe for a while, you know I've been saying from the very beginning of this podcast that there have always been things in my life that I just knew would happen. I could never explain it, but I just knew. And on that episode, live on the air, when I got my first, and to this day still my only, spiritual download, I think now with this newfound knowledge, I realized it was me experiencing clairvoyance for the first time, but also claircognizance at the same time. So essentially, I literally did have like a That's So Raven moment. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's the best way that I could explain it. If you go back and listen to that episode, right before it happened, I was talking about feeling like my life's purpose was to motivate and inspire people, but I felt like I didn't know how to do that and still make a living out of it. And then I talked a little bit about how the podcast is the only place that I could be consistent in this social media realm and it not feel like work because, boom, insert clear cognizance. It's a place where I can come to motivate and inspire people. Like, I had that like as I was talking, and what's crazy is that episode was an episode just like this one where there was really no flow and I just needed to close some tabs in my brain and I was just doing exactly what I'm doing right now and just talking about the things that I was feeling, things that I was thinking, right? Then I have this aha moment like, girl, you're not trying to find your purpose. You are literally, quite literally sitting in that purpose right now. Like in that moment, that's what happened. Like it was like a deja vu, aha, light bulb went on. Like, girl, you doing it. Like literally, right? But what I didn't tell y'all, which is why it was so much to really process, was that download came with a quote unquote vision. Like as soon as I realized like, oh shit, I am literally right this second sitting in my purpose right now. And I didn't even know it. As soon as I had that moment, like thought in my head, I saw a mini movie flash in my head. Like, I kid you not. Insert clairvoyance here. Like, y'all know when you fast forwarding through a movie and you only get like quick little still clips. That's exactly what I saw in my head. But it was my life. And the only scene that like stuck out to me was like the end. Like you fast forward a movie and you press play and then you start at that scene. So I saw like the fast forward of just like mad different random clips that was just moving way too fast. But the scene that it ended on before I snapped out of it and realized, holy shit, like I'm in the middle of recording a podcast episode, I probably literally look like That's So Raven right now. What stuck out to me was a scene where I was literally sitting on a stage, like some type of panel, TED Talk type vibes, and I was sharing my story to an audience. Like I had a mic in my hand, like, sitting real cute in a little suit type vibes. And like I was a speaker of some sort at whatever type of event that this was. And ever since it happened on that episode, which was about a year ago now, almost a year ago now, I have been trying to make sense of it. And it's not that it didn't make sense, it's just it's been so insane that like, did that really happen? Like, what does that mean type thing? Like, I really could not really for the life of me unpack what it meant, what I was supposed to do with that information. And I've just been since then trying to figure out how I get from here to there. And that has kind of just been my goal for this year is to try to bridge that gap. And I know it sounds nuts to some of y'all. I get it. But I sure am blindly following a random vision that was downloaded into my brain. But I just know that's what I'm supposed to do. Insert clear cognizance again. Like I just know like God was like, okay, since you don't think that you doing what you supposed to be doing, let me show you where if you keep doing what you doing, where it's gonna take you. Like that's the vibe I got from it. And I have no idea, like I don't know nothing about how I'm gonna get there, but I know that working under someone and selling the American dream essentially to people like a used car salesman isn't going to get me there. It isn't. But I don't know what will get me there either. If that, like, I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. So there's been a lot of unpacking going on around here. And hopefully y'all can understand why sometimes I just be needing to make some space. Because if I hadn't made the time to do so last year, if I hadn't done exactly what I'm doing right now last year, I would have never gotten that spiritual download. And I wouldn't have gotten confirmation that I am, in fact, on the right path. So, what I'm saying is, I hope that these mental dumps and just closing some tabs in my brain and making some space inspire you to do the same. You don't got to do it like on a platform like this, but however feels fit to you, whether that be talking to a friend or writing in a journal or booking a therapy session, just clear some mental space, because when you really sift through all the files that are in your brain, you have no idea what you're going to find. And that brings me to our word of the week. I do have one of those. And this week's word is dilatory. Yeah, your girl had to subscribe to a word of the day website type vibe just so I could get some new words, because I felt like I was recycling the same words. And like we about to head into a new season. We only got one more episode left of this season. Like, as we step into this new season, we need to be, enhancing our vocabulary. I just want to let y'all know I did, in fact, finish the 4 agreements. I am now on my February book, which I am reading Unfuck Yourself, How to Unfuck Yourself and get into your life. It's like a self-development book. But yeah, y'all, so your girl's I've been reading more, so, it's been jazzing up my vocabulary. And I came to, sprinkle a little bit of that with y'all. So this week's word, like I said, is dilatory. And it means to be slow to act. And I chose this word because I think that more of us need to be slow to act on the things that we want. If we take our time and really dive into why we want to accomplish certain goals, we may eventually realize that we can accomplish the same goal, but in a different way. So for me, I'm becoming more dilatory in the way that I approach real estate, because I'm realizing I could still have the same, or honestly, even greater impact on people's lives with exactly what I'm doing right now, my own way and on my own terms. So remember, no matter how hectic life may get, always take the time to make space, because you never know what you'll find when you do. Cue outro.
And on that note, if you made it this far, thank you for kicking it with me and chopping it up with me. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. The love and the support, it never goes unnoticed or unappreciated. And if you want to join the conversation in real time, make sure that you're following me across all social media platforms at Tyanne Watson. But more specifically, make sure you're following me on Instagram at Tyanne.Watson, because that's where I'll post all of the polls, all of the questions, and conversation starters. That's also where you guys can expect to see sneak peeks and previews into the episodes to come. We on a new season and we on a new level. This gonna be one hell of a ride. I hope y'all are ready. Until then, I'll see you, same time, same place next week for another Melanated Monday. And remember, the goal is to be good and do good. Until next time, peace, y'all.